Whoop whoop everybody, welcome to the Viral Juggalo Cherubs video. This will be a retrospective of the creation of this viral sensation. First, started off cleaning off my work area. I've got my cotton candy Faygo ready to go, adjusted the camera, adjusting myself, and now let's get ready to paint. Well, after some Faygo. Here we go. There they are before I painted them at all in their virgin form. Very clean, very normal, and very old-fashioned. You might be asking yourself, what exactly am I looking at here? What is this thing? Well, apparently they used to make items like these that had lights inside of them so that they could be soft little like night lights at night. And the fact that they were cherubs, I guess, is supposed to be soothing or, I don't know, cool, I guess? Sometimes I just have to remind myself I'm not a little old lady and I have no idea what exactly goes on inside of their little heads. What I do know is that my name is Shovel, and I am the guy behind Precious Juggalos. You may have seen this piece. It went a little crazy on the internet there, and quite a few people got to see it. And this is how it was made. It was painted by hand, by me, in my little studio in my basement. So one of the first things that I have to do whenever I'm painting one of these pieces, other than cleaning it of course, is painting a nice white base for the face paint on the faces. This piece obviously has two faces, so I had to paint both of them, and wanted to make sure I got really good coverage, really smooth paint, limited brush strokes, and so that's what I'm working on here, getting it as clean and neat as I possibly can. You might be asking yourself, where is this footage coming from? Well, excellent question. I live stream every Monday through Friday on YouTube from 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you find yourself free during those times, swing on by. We've got a lively group over there, really fun chat, talk about all kinds of crazy things, and everybody is welcome. So come check it out sometime. I'll be happy to see you, and I'll definitely appreciate your attendance. So back to the action on screen that you see before you. I'm still painting in the white base coat on both of the faces. We're getting pretty close to being done with that though. It's a pretty important step. I mean, it kind of sets the tone for the entire piece. So if it's not good and clean and flat and smooth, it can really throw off the overall look. So I try my best to do a clean white base coat. So if you're wondering where I actually got this piece from, my wife found this at a thrift store here locally and sent me a picture of it. And as soon as I saw the piece, I wasn't really sold on the idea. I was actually not really keen on it. But then, like a lot of things go, as I got to painting it, the more I worked on it, the more I could tell that it was definitely something different. I never really thought it was one of the greatest things I ever painted, but for whatever reason, this little thing resonated with thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and I'm still not really sure why. I mean, part of the reason was that I am part of a Facebook group that is fairly sizable called Altered Moments. I'll leave a link to it in the description of this video. It's a group that's dedicated to the altering of Precious Moments figurines and other figurines that might be made out of ceramic. So this qualified, and I just happened to be an early member, happened to post at the right time, I suppose, and things just kind of took off from there. To maybe give you a little bit more context, at the time, I had just really started streaming on YouTube. I had a Facebook page, but mostly it was just friends and family that were following me. I tried all the other socials and kind of the same thing, not really too much going on. But then I painted this piece and posted it on Facebook, and things got weird. We've entered day 2. I've started working on the black face paint of these two cherubs. The face paint, of course, is from the Insane Clown Posse. Because there's two faces and two members of Insane Clown Posse, at the end we're going to have one Juggalo Cherub that is going to be Violent J painted, which is what I'm working on right now. That face will be a Violent J face paint. And then the other will be Shaggy 2 Dope, the other founding member of the Insane Clown Posse. As the face paint starts to really come to fruition, this is when the personality starts to come out of the piece. Really kind of my favorite part. This is day 2 of a 3-day project. In day 2, I usually am roughing in the face paint, the black portion. Day 3 is typically refining it or making it just perfect. But day 2 is kind of my favorite day because this is really when I start to see the end product in my mind. And some good ideas usually come out of day 2 of additional customization that is possible. This one, it was just the 2 face paints. I didn't do anything extra, but frankly, I don't think it really needed it. I think simplicity is best when it comes to my precious juggalos. I think if you look at the screen right now, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. As those black lines are creeping out onto the cheeks of this Juggalo Cherub, you can really start to pick up on the, Whew, sorry about that, too much Faygo. But what I'm trying to say is, look at that little cherub face. Look at the smile that's really starting to come out with that face paint. Is that not something special? Does that not just speak to you right now? And now as I add the arches over the eyes, the eyebrow paint, as I refer to it, and I think clowns do as well, look at that. It's just staring into your soul right now with nothing but the happiest thoughts of, wicked clown things like murder and death and decay and monsters and the dark arts. No big whoop, but 2 big whoop whoops. Meanwhile, I've started on the Shaggy 2 Dope side of the Viral Juggalo Cherubs. Sort of viral, sort of. So it's really starting to come together now. We did his little nose, started on his little mouth. I really kind of favor the Violent J face paint for whatever reason. It just comes easier for me. Shaggy 2 Dope, I always seem to struggle a little bit with. I'm getting better with practice, but it's still my default would be the Violent J face paint. It's somehow just deeply embedded in my DNA, and I think I could paint it in my sleep, which I don't know if that's okay. That might be a problem. Maybe. Another common question I get is, am I a huge Insane Clown Posse fan? And that's kind of difficult to answer. It's kind of complicated. It all goes back to my teenage years. Shout out to my buddy Brett Delinsky for introducing me to Insane Clown Posse. He had a copy of Riddlebox in his car, and we would listen to it. I ended up buying myself a copy, and I listened to that album quite a bit, listened to The Great Malenko, and then just kind of moved on, graduated high school, started going to college, ended up going to Chicago to try to be a comedian, and didn't really listen to ICP. I was still aware of them, and I was definitely aware of the empire that they were building around themselves, which I will always respect that. But I'm not really current on what they're doing, what they're making, or really the rest of Juggalo-dom, because it's pretty expansive. It's like a Marvel universe of characters. Shoot, there's even rivalries and villains. And because of the Juggalo family's gracious nature, seems to be I'm becoming one of them. Oddly. Meanwhile, look at the screen. Look at those faces. Look at that Violent J. Look at that Shaggy 2 Dope. The little Juggalo Cherubs. Here they come in close. Absolutely breathtaking. We're on day 3 now of this 3-day paint. We're going to be doing some final touches, some refining of the lines, getting everything straight, getting everything pointed if it should be, sharp, rounded if it should be round, looking for square corners and even line work. I spent an entire day doing this, believe it or not. like I've talked about in my streams before, I can kind of get into this weird tug of war with myself where I'm trying to do touch-up paint with the white over the black, and then I do too much white, so I have to go back and do black, and then I do too much black, so I go back and do white, and on and on and on. And it can be pretty mind-numbing, and I can kind of lose myself in that process for a while. Thankfully, I've got some excellent people in my chat that can usually snap me out of the delirium that I enter into when I'm painting these little faces and get me talking about other things, or else I really do think I would fall down into the abyss of Juggalo face painting for the rest of my life. Oy. If you've made it this far into the video, just know that I really do appreciate you. One of the craziest happy consequences of all of this that I do is the fact that there has risen up a bit of a community around me, and I really do appreciate it every day. You're the reason why I continue to create. You're the reason why I keep painting. It's really fun. It's fun to interact with the community. So thank you for that. If you could, give me a thumbs up on this video if you haven't already. If you're not subscribed, please do. And like I mentioned before, if you are available to make it to a live stream, just drop into one. Just say hi. Just say you watched this video. Tell me what you liked about it. Tell me what you hated. Tell me if you think I'm a big, dumb loser. Whatever. It doesn't bother me. I've got a thick skin. Real thick. So I know I just said that you should pop into one of my live streams and let me know your opinion on things, but you know, it doesn't have to be the only way. There's also the comments on this video here. Why don't you let me know? What do you think about what you're seeing in front of you right now, the Juggalo Cherubs? Are they just right? Should I have done more? Are they missing anything? A lot of comments I got from people all over the internet was, Where's the Faygo? They should be holding Faygo. Faygo. To that, all I could say was, yeah, it's a great idea. Maybe next time. Because in my opinion, I don't think a bottle of Faygo would have made this any better. I kind of like that it's simple and understated. That this piece could, you know, maybe just sit on somebody's desk in their professional office and not look terribly out of place. Foreshadowing. Seriously though, I do like the idea of these being able to sit on a shelf and not really be noticed, that you could almost not realize that they're there. They could sit on a shelf for, I don't know, a year or several years before somebody finally catches out of the corner of their eye, is that Juggalo face paint on that figurine? And then everybody can have a nice laugh, or, you know, just maybe a moment to share a story about their passion for Insane Clown Posse, or that one time back in the 90s. You know how those stories go with your grandma or whoever. As we're getting close to the end of this paint session for this piece, how about I talk about some of the other questions that I get? Mainly, what paint do I use, and brushes, and all the technical things of painting. And first, let me just make this as clear as I possibly can. I am not a trained artist. I'm not even really that good at art. I just happen to find a thing that I am kind of better than mediocre at, and people identify with it, so, you know, lightning in a bottle or whatever. But I did paint fantasy miniatures like D&D characters and Gunpla models from Japan before I started painting Juggalos. So I do have a background of painting with small brushes and tiny things. So I use acrylic paints that you would find in hobby stores like Citadel and Vallejo, but I also buy paints from the crafts store. But when I do, I don't buy the cheapest paints. I generally buy the more expensive ones. And there is a difference with acrylic paints. The cheaper paints are a lot more watered down, or they have whatever medium to thin it out. They'll have more of that. And the more expensive paints actually have more pigment to them, so they cover better and they last longer, they're more durable, everything about them is better. So you get what you pay for. I would recommend spending a little extra you'll end up painting a lot less. Much of the same can be said for brushes. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out and buy the most expensive sable brushes on the market, although they are nice, but don't buy the cheapest brushes that you can, the ones that are just made out of plastic. The natural fibers actually do a lot better. They're able to paint a lot better detail. They hold up better for their shape. But ultimately, what's most important is taking good care of your brushes. If you take care of your brushes, they'll take care of you. Here comes the stamp. And it's done. That's a completed piece. The Juggalo Cherubs. Here's one final look before and after. Let's talk a little bit about what I mean by going viral, kind of. Here's my original post in that group. You see, it got a lot of reactions right away. Just over 1,000. Suddenly I had 500 Facebook followers. But then, a couple days later, it jumped up to 11,000 reactions and almost 3,000 shares. In fact, people were using my image for their own profile background pictures on Facebook. Isn't that crazy? And here's some analytics from my Facebook page. You can see that spike, just over 500,000, and then all of a sudden over 1 million reactions to one post. Those Juggalo Cherubs. So weird. But then I sold them to a very happy customer who put it, in fact, in his professional office, and that's where they stay, watching over him as he works. And here's how my Facebook looks now. Just over 4,000 followers, and a lot of it because of that one piece. So there you go. That's the story of the Viral Juggalo Cherubs. Well, kinda. See you next time.